On this week's episode of the Crushing Debt Podcast, Debt with Benefits. So, welcome back to this week's episode of the Crushing Debt Podcast. My name is Shawn Yesner, owner and founder of Yesner Law, and I'm joined in studio by your financial coach, George Corbello. Happy Valentine's Day, George.
It is the month of love, my friend. Yes. Happy Valentine's Day to you. I hope that everyone is going to have a great time having a very low-budget date on this fine Valentine's Day. But yes.
We just got a donation to the Patreon page, but only if you don't sing ever again.
Well, if you keep donating itself, I will never partake in that event anymore.
So how you doing?
I'm doing well. I have to say the Olympics is full swing.
That's right.
If you care for figure skating or downhill sloping.
I prefer the Summer Olympics, but I'll watch the Olympics too. I like the Winter Olympics
they
as
have
well.
some hockey and some other things.
Although the NHL is still playing, right? When does hockey start?
That's been you're gonna get in trouble.
Hockey Olympics. Don't the NHL players play
Some
for
of
their
them, yes, some
home
of them
countries?
do. Correct. So I think the games start today. I think, or they have some qualifying matches this weekend. So it's it's in full swing. Let's put it like that. Opening ceremonies technically have happened when you hear this, but very, very excited. I do enjoy kind of looking at the Olympics coverage.
And also in full swing is Gasparilla season.
Yes.
We finished the day parade, which was it was cold, but it was a ton of fun. I went through more beads at the kids parade than I did at the adult parade.
Shocker.
And the adult parade is 4 times longer.
Right.
So I got to get my son to stop just firing
That's
out
excited.
beads.
He's just throwing them out there into the crowd.
And then we got another parade this as you're listening to this, the weekend after you listen to this, a few days after this episode comes out, we've got the I think it's the Saint Iago night parade, which I always thought meant it was at night, N-I-G-H-T.
Right.
No, it's the Knights of St. Iago, K-N-I-G-H-T.
Gotcha.
Now, it happens to be in the evening.
Oh, okay. I was about to say,
So
it's still nighttime, so it's still
It's
qualifying.
the night parade at nighttime.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we've got that coming up, and then in March we've got the St. Patty's Parade,
St. Pat's coming.
and then parade season for at least my crew will come to an end.
Nice.
So,
but having good times, even though it's a little chilly out there, having a great time, meeting great people.
yeah, it's what we say is we're a fundraising organization with a pirate problem. So
a little bit. I saw some good pictures, so definitely you get into the spirit of things.
And we do have a lot of fun, but the crews do a lot of good as well. Like we fundraise for different organizations, and our security for the parades are I forget what the organization is, but it's like a Wounded Warrior type organization that we support. We do a lot of fundraising. We're the West Chase crew, so we do a lot of fundraising for the West Chase area. So the reason I bring it up, I have a ball. I don't think I would ever do a Gasparilla-type parade if I was not already on a float. But we do a lot of good for the community as well.
Great.
It's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of good we do for the community.
Giving back to the community is important, and obviously being able to dress up as a pirate, doubly the fun.
Hey, that's just fun. So the topic this week is on the subject of good debt versus bad debt.
Correct.
So taking your wife out for Valentine's Day and putting it on the credit card, good debt.
In theory. So yes. I guess according to someone in that relationship, it probably would be labeled as good debt. Correct.
Okay. But what is this concept of good debt versus bad debt?
I mean, you think of it, people get confused, right? And sometimes even defensive when they talk about debt, right? Debt is bad. Depending on, your perspective. Debt is good because, you got to make money or to make money, you got to save money to make money or whatever that phrase is. Bless you.
Wow.
He got a little, we almost lost him, people. He's okay. He almost pulled his back there on that sneeze.
I'm allergic to debt, apparently.
But good debt, when we talk about labeling good debt, obviously good debt is helping us grow. Right? It's something that we can use, money or debt that we use to be able to further the business, buy a home, go to school, get the certificate that's necessary. Anything that supports our growth, we can label as good debt, right?
Right.
Now, what's that, what's the definition of anything that's bad? What's a bad debt in our, something that is either consumption. Bad debt is like, we always label it as that short-term gratification, something that's tied to it, right? There's no growth tied to the expense. So that's what makes it bad, right? It's not that it hits you in the back or something like that, right? It's just it feels like that when you're paying the bill.
It feels like it hits you somewhere else.
But yeah, there's certain things that we would consider bad debt: credit cards, personal loans, especially like buy now, pay laters, those types of kind of borrowing that can put us in a position where it feels good at the time, but there's nothing really at the other end of it once the debt is paid off.
Right. Now, I do think credit card debt can be good debt if you pay it off at the end of every month and you use it for the rewards points. Mm-hmm. So if I charge something, get the rewards points, and then pay it off at the end of the month, and then I use the rewards points for something, I think that's good debt. I think when it becomes bad debt is where I don't pay it off, and now I'm just paying interest. I mean, I finished all the monthly or the year-end accounting for the law firm, so I can submit all that to the CPA, get the law firm tax return done, get my tax return done. And I was just amazed at the amount of interest that the law firm paid. And it wasn't a tremendous amount, but it was enough that if I didn't have to pay it, I could have made more money.
Sure.
I could have given my staff raises. I could have given them bigger Christmas bonuses. I could, whatever it was.
Yeah. Opportunity.
Right. So I think some debt can be both good and bad, or some debt could be either good or bad depending on how you use it.
I mean, here's the thing, like, good debt for me, like, the easiest one is your mortgage, right? It's going to give you a place to be, a place to live, the sense of ownership. There's increased income that could come with it. That could be if you're renting it out, for instance, right? Or increased net worth, because again, you have property that's going to grow over time. So, but a lot of times when we label things with good debt, student loans can do that as well, right? But because it gives you the opportunity for maybe job, for enhancements to further along in your career. But
unless you're taking a job in an industry that doesn't pay
correct.
Consistent with the amount of money you borrowed.
And for me, it's an excellent point. The thing that gets me is, even with something like that, the debt, if you don't have a plan on how to actually, get rid of it, execute it, if it's something that stays with you for the next 10, 15 years, that's where it becomes like, okay, like, really, was the investment worth, right. Was it they always say, was the juice worth the squeeze?
The squeeze. So, like, $200,000 in debt to be a brain surgeon, to be a medical doctor,
kind of
probably worth it.
Yeah.
$200,000 in debt to be an underwater basket weaver.
That's your go-to. I love that.
Probably not. I don't know why that's always. I think that was my dad's go-to.
There you go.
Probably why it's mine. But you want to make sure that the job you're doing or the workforce you're going to enter offers the salaries to support the student loans that you're taking out.
The thing is, you have to do the research to really, like, we always think of like the ROI, right? Like, what's the return on investment when it comes to these types of the borrow? But even now, I feel like you're talking to these high schoolers, right? And it's like, they're investing in their future, but it's like, you have to make this decision, and you're going to this school. What if you don't go to this school? You're not going to get the degree. And there's so much pressure there. And once again, I mean, you're still thinking borrowing 50, 60, 70 a year.
Right.
Just to go. And that's just nowadays going for a bachelor's degree, a BA, a BS. That worth?
My degree is BS.
Yeah, it's but is it worth it, right? That's where like, you're putting all that money in for an experience rather than the education necessary to be the building block for the next step.
Well, and I think it's also a function of the concept of an appreciating asset versus a depreciating
Correct.
asset. And so one of the reasons why I could be okay with classifying student loan debt as good debt is because your brain is an appreciating asset. You're always learning, you're always improving, you're always hopefully working to get better. Mm-hmm. So in that sense, it's an appreciating asset. Cars, for example.
I was about to ask.
cars don't appreciate.
Correct.
They depreciate in value. Now, maybe you get to that point where the car is paid off and it's got some value to you. You could sell it for $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. So from that perspective, maybe it's got a little bit of positivity. But at the same time, you need a car to get around. You need a car. Although, having just said that, I had a bankruptcy client once, and his transportation costs were like $1,000 a month.
Sure.
Some number. And I said, what do you drive? He said, no. I said, then how are you getting $1,000 a month in transportation costs? This particular client had gotten a DUI and had lost his driving privileges. That was in part the cause for some of his inability to pay back his debt.
Sure.
But the way he was getting around, he was Ubering everywhere. And the cost of the Ubers ended up being less than the car that now we can argue over whether it's worth it to spend $1,000 on a car. But his Ubers were less than what he was spending on his monthly car payments. So in his budget, it ended up being a positive.
Well, I mean, the thing is, too, you're not only thinking car payment, right? There's car insurance, there's car payment. If you're parking it somewhere, gas. So there's a lot of expenses that are tied to owning a vehicle. And if it makes sense, especially like if you live in a city, it doesn't make sense to have a car, because you can get around through public transportation. Uber's still available to you. But it's one of those where we don't take the time to actually analyze, is this the right, when we say it's good debt, because let's say I get a car, but it's for my startup, for my business.
Right.
Maybe you don't get a 2027, Ferrari or something like that for the car, unless it's, justifying this lifestyle that you're doing. It's one of those things where it's like, man, I need a car to be able to get around, get to interviews, get to, or be able to do the job that I need to do. Or even like, let's say I'm starting a food truck. Does that justify then a good purchase?
Maybe if the interest rate is such that the profits you make from the food truck pay, it's the same concept with, should I buy rental property? Mm-hmm. Well, if you can rent it out for an amount that would cover your mortgage payment, go for it.
Yep. And of course, if it's paid off, even better, because now the profit's a lot bigger.
Well, and if you allow the rents to pay off the mortgage, you have somebody else paying off your loan.
Correct.
But what you have to account for, what could make it very bad debt, is if you don't do your due diligence, and maybe you buy with an intent to have it be a short-term, like Airbnb, VRBO, whatever, and that community, that municipality, that whatever, doesn't allow short-term rentals.
Right.
Well, now you finance the purchase of a house that you can only rent out on an annual basis.
You can't even.
Or maybe even not at all. There are some communities, I know my home community is talking about adding a restriction to our governing documents that say you have to own for a year before you can rent it out.
Oof.
So you've got to if you're going to use debt to buy houses, you've got to double check what do I want to do with this house? How do I want to cash flow this house? And do the rules allow it? And you've also got to account for occupancy rates. If my mortgage payment is $1,000 a month, and I'm going to charge $2,000 rent, so my mortgage payment's $1,000 a month over a year, that's $12,000. If I'm going to charge $2,000 a month rent, great. I'm anticipating $1,000 a month profit. But what if I can only rent it for 5 months out of the year?
Exactly. Right.
And now I'm paying $12,000 in mortgage payments, but I'm only getting $10,000 in income.
Shawn, you're asking me to think forward and think ahead, and all I see is the potential. Right? It's a rental property. It'll fix itself.
It'll be okay.
It'll be okay. So I think that's we get into those moments where we use the label of good debt, even on bad debt, to justify a particular purchase, right? I'm going to buy that rental property because it should eventually, right? Shouldn't it turn out? It should work out. But what if the question is what if it doesn't? And I don't mind us taking risk when it comes to these types of investments or these types of purchases, but we need to be aware of what the risk is and understand, the likelihood of that. And
calculated risk.
Yeah, and I think it's just a lot of people thinking like, you have to spend money to make money. That's the such a common thing, especially in business. you can't just sit and think like, I'm not going to be able to, borrow or spend or any of those kind of things and not make money. And it's just, we got to think things a little differently, because I think people get in trouble.
Yeah.
With that type of mindset, and that type of behavior can get you a little bit stuck.
So one of these things that we researched prior to recording this episode, the 4-question debt test.
Ooh.
To determine if debt is good debt or bad debt. So question number 1, does this debt help me earn more money?
Good question.
Good question. If the answer is yes, I think it might side more on the good debt side than the bad debt side. Question number 2, is the interest rate under control? So, in my mind, interest rate is one of the most misunderstood. It's one of the most often confused, because somebody would say, oh, yeah, great, I got a 3% interest rate. Okay, well, what if you got a 3% interest rate, but your payments are still $15,000 a month?
Yeah.
Does it matter that you have a 3% interest rate? Or what if I told you I could get you into your dream house? It would be a 15% interest rate, but your payments would be $1,000 a month.
Right.
Now, I get it. Those are not realistic examples.
Yeah.
But my point is that don't just focus on interest rate, also focus on the payment and what is the interest rate doing for the payment. You're right. All things being equal, a 5% interest rate is better than a 7% interest rate. Sure. But all things aren't equal.
Correct. I mean, that's the thing we do get fixated is, and especially, with bad debt, we talk about credit cards. It's 15% may be different than it is, something that we have for car payment or a mortgage. Remember back in the day, mortgage, interest rates were above, 10%.
Right.
And people were still buying, and they were still, getting into homes. I understand, guys. Oh, but the homes were, 50,000 compared to, $1 million today. I get that. But you have to understand, it doesn't matter how many zeros you add to the number. You're still trying to ask the same questions to figure out, like, is this still the right time? Right. Is this the right purchase for us?
Well, and I think I like this question, is the interest rate under control, because you're also talking about fixed versus adjustable.
Correct.
You're also talking about some loans, if you default, so your interest rate's 12%, but if you default, it jumps to 18.
Correct.
So don't default.
You miss a payment, it jumps to 18.
You'll save yourself 6% in my made-up example if you don't default.
Makes sense.
So question number 3, I like this one. This is my favorite question. Would future me thank present me for this decision?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Am I going to beat myself up for entering into this loan agreement? Yeah, I'll give you a perfect example.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to buy that new couch. Our old couch was a disaster. We had to buy a new couch. I financed it. I think it was 18 months, 0% interest. And so, you know what? Future me, or I guess present me, does thank past Shawn for making that purchase.
Good job.
We also needed a new AC unit. We financed that. We talked
your
summertime last year about all the stuff I did to my house. I financed some of that.
Yep.
But it was all for the house. And so, had I not done that, my house would be 5 feet under.
Few more. You might have a living room that becomes a sunken living room.
Right. I might have a basement in Florida. So I love that one.
That's a good question.
Would future me thank present me for this decision? And then the last one, if I lost my income tomorrow, would this payment wreck me?
Yes.
Now, the simple answer to that question is, well, yeah. But have you saved up a reserve?
Correct.
Or is the asset income producing where, I lost my job, but I still have tenants. And so those tenants are still covering the mortgage payment.
Well, I mean, I'll give you another example of, like, borrowing, when it comes to, like, if I lost my job, right? We tie a lot of our life insurance to our job. We tie a lot, from a benefits thing. Mm-hmm. And we tie also, sometimes people borrow off the 401k, and
that's definitely taking away from future me.
Right. So there's two, right? So like, but it's my money, right? Let me borrow from it and do that. But if you lose your job and you still owe on those payments, you have to pay, right? You have to pay the loan off in full, or it becomes a taxable event as part of that borrow. So once again, I look at that and go, if I lost my job today, that's an example of, whoops, I'm now out that debt, that whatever was borrowed. And then the question is, was it worth it? Was it worth? Would future me be? I'll go back to question number 3. Would future me be happy? It's like, no, it'll kick me in the behind and say, why did you do that? That was a bad purchase.
Right.
But yeah, can I give you a story? Since you're always good with stories and stuff like that, I'm going to give you one. So I did that again. I back in my 30s when I was silly and thinking that I was going to be the world. I actually did. We wanted a new like a front stepway. Our old step in our old home. It was like it had a nice little tilt. And I was like, I think that's a little dangerous. We might want to fix that. So we did fix it.
You want to give out your address for all the personal injury attorneys listening right now?
It was the old house, so there you go. I'm just gonna say we moved since then, but got a beautiful front. It was nice. One of the Amish folks up in Pennsylvania, we got a great deal. They did a fantastic job in putting it up. But again, silly me thinking like, oh, I'll just borrow. I'll borrow against the 401k because it's like that's I need the money, and it was a good investment. I'm thinking it's a good investment in the house, right? So when I did it, it was a great. My wife and I sold the home. Okay, we sold the home, and I still owed on that loan at that point. So not only was I making payments. This is when I knew I was like, all right, I think we need to make a change. But I moved to another, here to Florida, and I was still paying for stairs that were someone else was getting to enjoy. So, yeah, I learned my lesson of like that future me at that point was like, dude, you're not even living in that house. What is wrong with you?
Future me wanted to go back in time and beat up past me. Well, and that's the other thing too is I see people all the time. So I'm looking at doing another major upgrade to my house after doing all that foundation work. I spend a lot of time outside, and so I want to do some changes to my backyard. I want to extend the screen. Right now, the screen patio is just the covered portion of the patio. I want to extend the screen over the uncovered portion of the patio.
Nice.
I want to put an outdoor kitchen in. Maybe want to get a better TV, whatever.
Sure.
I'm thinking about putting some significant money into the house to do all that. Now, one of the fallacies that people say all the time, if I put, and I'm just going to pick a number, I don't know how much it's going to cost. If I put $20,000 into the outside and I extend the screen, I get an outdoor kitchen, I get a better TV, I get a hot tub, whatever.
Let's go.
I put $20,000 into the backyard.
Okay.
That doesn't mean the price of the house goes up $20,000.
Correct.
Maybe $5,000.
But we can that's us justifying what's like, well, but if I do this to the house, it'll make the value, it'll make it look pretty, do whatever.
Instead, I think what the justification needs to be is if I spend this money on the house, I'm going to be outside more than I normally am.
Right.
And I'm going to enjoy my house more.
You're going to enjoy it for you.
Right. Me and my kids are going to, and my friends and everybody, and George and his wife, and we're all going to hang out outside and barbecue and watch TV and whatever.
Yeah.
That's going to make it good debt and make it worth it.
Right.
Versus, I'm doing this so I can increase the price of my house by $20,000 so I can sell it later.
Correct.
Well, there's no guarantee
There's never a guarantee.
The next buyer is going to want that stuff.
Exactly.
Maybe the next buyer doesn't have kids. Maybe the next buyer has younger kids. Maybe the next buyer wants a pool. Maybe, who knows? So I think I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it for the boys. I'm doing it for my enjoyment of the outside space, which I think makes it good debt.
I like the idea of like if you're gonna borrow for the home, don't use the concept of it's gonna make the house better. So when I sell it, it'll be the resale value be there. Like if you're gonna want a new kitchen, do it for you. Right. If you want a new bathroom, do it for you. Yes, those are areas that like if you do those types of improvements for an older home, could increase the emphasized could increase the value of the home, but do not do something and use some type of justification to be able to say that this is why it's a good investment. It's
Right.
going to be like, I could say that with any car I buy. Yeah, it's a great investment because, but that Audi is what I need. That's what that's going to be. It's going to be good because it's going to, the car holds value over 15 years. And it's like, come on, guys. Like, we know that that's not true, and yet we can use those as in the middle of a negotiation.
What's interesting is that Toyotas hold value.
Mm-hmm.
Nissans hold value. Hyundais hold value.
Correct.
And so
But not the original price value. It'll
No.
just be a little bit better as the depreciation is not as bad.
Right. Cars have always, especially in some of these bankruptcy petitions that I see, I filed bankruptcy for one couple. They pay $1,700 a month for 2 cars.
Oh, at least 2 cars. Good.
2 cars. That's what, $850, and I think one car's $700 and one car's $1,000. But you're paying $1,000 a month for a car.
Mm-hmm.
When I bought my first house, my mortgage payment was $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
I could buy a house, or I could live in my car.
Some people make those choices, but I get it. It blows my mind where we're in the day and age today that it's okay to think the average car payment today is over $600, and we're thinking that's okay.
I can't.
I understand that cars, are getting more expensive to manufacture, tariffs, all of those things that could play into that as well. I understand all those, but I remember the days where like a car payment was $200 and we were complaining.
Right.
And it's now where it's like, oh, it's a blip. $600, $650. I had one client, one car, $1,600 a month.
Oh, good Lord. That is a house payment.
What's like what?
A small
Why?
house payment.
And I understand because we're like, oh well, I need a new car. I still owe on the old one, so we're gonna transfer some of the debt into the new car payment, and it's a beautiful car, and but boy, why? And then of course now all these car payments are 8-year loans and stuff now too, where it's like ay.
Well, and like you said, you'll typically get some insurance discount for buying an older car.
Yeah.
But your insurance will be more if it's a more expensive car.
Right.
So the savings you get in getting a new car may be outweighed by the value of the car itself.
Absolutely.
Plus, like you said, the car payments are $1,600 a month. What are the insurance payments every month?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of car is it, and how much does it take to fill it with gas? Gas prices, I think, are coming down, but they're still way up there.
Still higher than that. And of course, now if you're an electric vehicle, it's a beautiful car, but and I don't have to pay for gas. I'm like, yeah, but you're gonna be paying for electricity,
Right?
You're getting the energy from somewhere, and one of those bills are gonna go up.
Well, and so I get my oil changes for free.
Mm-hmm.
Great. They're included. They're baked into my car payment.
Yes, they are. They're not.
So,
they're not free.
Right.
You've already paid. You've already prepaid for those services.
Right. So I could lower my car payment, but then I'd have to pay every time I got my oil changed.
Sure.
It's just one bucket to another.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but so the big thing that worries me in a lot of this is that I kind of hinted to it, right? It's all normalized now. Good debt, bad debt. And I think what gets us into trouble is the justification of the purchase is one thing, but we're anticipating life is gonna. Oh, but I'm gonna get that job. I'm gonna get that promotion. I'm gonna get tax return. Oh, I'm gonna. There's no guarantee, and then
Right.
life is still gonna happen, right? What happens if you lose the job? What if the tax return was not as high as you thought? Oh, but I got $10,000 last year, but this year there was an adjustment. What if you don't get $10,000 and you only get $500?
Right.
But you've spent the money already that you thought you already had 10. So I think these are the traps that we put ourselves in. Is for me, I feel like we're already spending money we don't have.
So here's a question: What would George have done? My son broke his iPhone.
Oof.
Like, could not use it.
Like cracked screen.
It wasn't even cracked.
Like
it was like, have you ever seen a TV get hit?
Yeah,
and it's got like the line on it.
Okay, so the actual circuit something like's off. Okay,
right, and
gotcha.
so we couldn't slide it. We couldn't touch screen. We couldn't do anything.
Yep.
So bring it into the store,
Mm-hmm.
and they said, well, you have insurance on it, so that's good. I said, okay. It's a $100 deductible.
Yep.
Okay, great. They said, or the phone is up for
Upgrade.
the phone is eligible for an upgrade in like 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
or we could pay $100 today and upgrade the phone in 6 months, or pay $137 today to buy out the contract and get a brand new
Right.
iPhone, whatever, 57, and my payments stay the same.
All right, so you still owe on. You obviously you're paying a monthly payment for
Right.
it. So, here's the thing: we've normalized having, because again now we have these phones, and baked in our payments for the phones, we have a lease payment.
Right.
Like we don't own the phone. As soon as the payments are done, let's say you pay the phone off and the phone is now yours. Do you keep the phone? The question is, would you keep the phone that point?
I keep mine
I know
until
you
they
do.
literally fall apart.
Yeah, I know you do. And to be honest with you, I've taught like that's something with our kids as well. It's like you don't need to upgrade to the phone every year. It's just silly. These phones are meant to last a few years,
Right.
unless we drop them, but that's what insurance is for, right?
Mhm.
So I think the question, so how would I like the situation? So for me, it's like, well, you're spending the insurance already each month. So that's what, $13, $15 a month for the phone. I'm like, okay, there's 6 months left. I'm like, okay, there's no wrong answer in a sense. I think I would do the insurance just to have it replaced, have it refurbished, right? And then continue to look to pay off the phone, and then we're good from that standpoint. I don't want to. It's just like a car payment.
Yeah.
I don't want a phone payment if
So
I can afford that.
For me, I kind of did the same thing, but for me, I forget what it was, but the insurance portion of my payment was more than $37 over the next 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So my thought process was, it's $37 difference.
Yeah.
$100 deductible to fix it, $137 to just get a new phone.
Mm-hmm.
So I went the new phone route.
Okay.
I paid the $137, and I figured if the new phone's also going to have insurance, then might as well switch the insurance to a newer phone.
Right.
Plus, it's got whatever factory warranties and whatever. So,
At least for the first year, correct?
right.
Yeah.
So we got the phone. So the weirdest thing, Verizon sent us the phone, and we had to. Normally, they used to do it in the store.
Yeah, you just take it and no.
No, now they send it to us, and we have to do all the work. And I told my son, because it was like 2 more days before we could get out to get a screen protector and a case. And so I told my
Put
son,
in a bubble.
This phone better not be. I don't even want there to be a speck of dust on it in the next 2 days. And but no, we did. We got the screen protector. We got the case. Phone is fine. But that's what I decided.
No,
to
that
do.
makes again. There's no bad, right? There's no bad approach because you're looking at it the holistic, like return. I've spent this much already on insurance. Here's what's left in the next 6 months for the insurance. How much you would owe. So you did a lot of mathing there. So that was good.
It was $37 difference.
Yeah.
If they had said $100 insurance now, or you buy out the contract for $500, well, then let's do the
it's
insurance.
a more expensive phone,
and
that
hang
makes
on to the
sense.
phone for a little bit.
Sure.
So
No, so you kind of you did the girl math, and it seemed to the math for you in that instance. So I love it. No bad answer, right? But you're for you, it's like it's okay. Like this works out. We still have the payment going forward, and he has a new phone,
Right.
with the insurance, no problem there. For me, I'm just more like, okay, I'm still in this mode. Like I don't want any payments.
Right.
I don't want a phone payment. I don't want a car payment. I don't want any of those kind of things, especially for a phone that, once again, these are maybe Apple iPhone 16, 17s when they're already, you're right, in 56, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it's the same phone, guys. So for me, it's like, okay, let's get a refurbished one, see how things work out. But you get no wrong in any of those directions.
Yeah,
we're all going to have different opinions on what we would do.
I keep my stuff until it literally falls apart
Yeah.
and breaks, and that's just.
I'm okay with that. Like for me, get a good screen protector. Totally get it. So, but okay.
Here's another interesting one.
Let's
I guess
go.
the last one. Annual passes.
Ugh.
Disney annual passes, Busch Gardens
Garden.
annual passes, Legoland has annual passes, Universal has annual passes, SeaWorld, all of them. Good or
Taco
bad?
Bell, I think, has one as well. They have an annual pass, for the bathroom use. But
There was that meme. I gotta find this meme. It's hilarious. It's 3 action stars in 3 different scenes from one of their movies with explosions behind him, like Heath Ledger from when he was the Joker, and Batman with this explosion behind him, and somebody like Arnold Schwarzenegger with an explosion behind him, and then it's a guy walking out of a Mexican restaurant, Mexican chain restaurant. I'm not gonna say which one. Mexican chain restaurant. Walking out of the men's room. No, it's just walking out of the men's room. And it's like, I love walking away from things I've blown up.
Hi, buddy. Yeah. Yep, this is where we're headed, guys. This is where we're headed. 2026, baby.
But annual passes.
Okay.
What do you think of annual passes?
So we had the annual passes for Busch Gardens and for we did the each one thinking like it's a good deal. Oh, this is of course, because you're going in there. The one time is what, $200 again, estimate $200, but the annual pass is only $230 or whatever. It's like, oh my God, of course. So why don't we do that? The problem you get into, first of all, if you do it like a one-time payment and you're good with the annual, I think I would be okay. Most people, though, break it up, right, into monthly payments over time. You start to realize, like, oh, but then what if I don't go? Now you're like, now I feel this stress of, like, if I don't use it at least, here we go, justification. If I don't use it at least 4 times in a span of that year, I'm wasting money. But when you go there, what happens? You parking is still free, so I think parking can be still included. But you still got to spend money, right? There's food, there's attractions, there's pictures, there's
souvenirs.
You're still ending up spending money.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I analyzed it more from the how many times are we going to go perspective.
Yeah,
and so we had at one point when my kids were young, we had annual passes to all of the Tampa Bay attractions. So we had annual passes to Busch Gardens, to the aquarium,
nice,
to the zoo, to whatever else, the kids museum. We had annual passes to all of it. And the problem was, my wife would say, "Well, we've already been. I don't want to go again." Yeah. I'm like, then why did we get the annual pass?
Why did we do it? Exactly.
We could have just gone the one time. So
no, I like when the kids are young, we can justify those types of purchases, and we think it like, oh, that's a good, because you're gonna get experience. There's gonna be a good time tied to it. But I agree. I feel like when you do the annual pass, but then you're tied to Busch Gardens, you're tied to
Disney. To go to
you
make
have
it
to
work.
go there. It's like, well, but I want to go to Universal now. It's like, well, we don't have an annual pass for that. It's like an extra. So for me, I understand the beauty behind, like, oh, we can save money and we can go. But let me tell you also, depending on which package you get, there's a lot of blackout dates maybe associated with those. So the fact is, like, I really like this, but now I can't go because that date is not available to me. Again, I don't want restrictions, people. I don't
recall ever having problems. I know blackout dates exist.
Yes.
I don't recall ever having a problem because, again, at the same time, I don't the blackout dates are typically the days that
the heaviest
get the most
times years,
right.
Correct.
So the spring breaks and the 4th of Julys and the all those kinds of things. I tend not to go during those times because I don't like the crowds anyway. I don't like people. Other than my clients, I love my clients.
Love them all.
Most of them. But I mean, the blackout dates never affected me. What more affected me was we had these annual zoo passes and we went once. We had the annual aquarium passes. We went twice. We had the annual whatever passes. We went once. That more bothered me than the cost of it.
No, and I think that's for me. That's what's tied. Remember, going back to it, like, we don't use it enough, so why we spend it? Like, but you spend it to be able to then use it and go and have the experience. But how many times can you do the same experience over? Because unless there's an event or there's a new animal. Again, zoo. If you go into the zoo, you're getting the same experience from that event.
And honestly, that's kind of where Disney has been brilliant as well. I was talking to somebody yesterday who said, I'm heading out to the Food and Wine Festival at
Correct.
Disney because they're constant and Epcot constantly changing it up. So that they're giving you that impression of not being the same experience.
Correct.
So, well, meanwhile,
I like it.
yeah, I mean, let us know, what kind of debt do you have? What do you think is good debt, bad debt? Do you agree with me? Do you agree with George? Do you agree with neither
With
of us?
George again, you know. It's all good.
Exactly. Do you want to talk real quick about the Patreon page if you want to support us? Patreon.com/crushingdebt. You can help us overcome some of our good debt and bad debt on that date. The other thing I also want to talk about, April 25 is the PanCan Purple Stride Walk benefiting fundraising for pancreatic cancer research. And we will have our team again out there this year, My Legacy Striders. I've got links in the notes about how you can register and be a part of the team. It is literally just a stroll. It's not a run. It's not a race. It is a 1 mile literal stroll through the outfields of all the fields at George Steinbrenner Field here in Tampa Bay.
Oh, nice.
So, and it's cool when we get into the main stadium. They've got all the donors on the video board.
Mm-hmm.
They've got all the teams on the video board. There's vendors there that you know different like Moffitt is out there, and some of the other cancer hospitals are out there. Caregivers are out there. It's a bittersweet event, you know, because it's fun to be there and see all the people and do all that. It's sad because of the reason that you're there.
Reason why they're there, right?
It's good, all the money that we raise for pancreatic cancer research. So if you are interested, I will have a link on my website, or not on my website, on the show notes, for this show, where you can register for My Legacy Striders. Other than that, I think that will do it for this week's episode.
I would agree. I think there's a few things that we have learned today about debt, but anything that is giving you stress, if debt is giving you stress, guys, it's probably not good. So just keep those things in mind. But you know, let's be a little bit more responsible.
If you've got good debt, great. You know, continue to pay it, continue to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got a mix of good debt and bad debt, then I might attack the bad debt first.
All right.
Get rid of that,
I
and
agree.
then you've only got the good debt left. And I hope that at the end of the month you have more money rather than having more month at the end of the money. Did I say that right?
I think it sounded right, but it was pretty close.
It was weird. It was weird. More money at the end of the month rather than month at the end of the money.
There you go.
There you go.
Woo-hoo.
And we will see you or talk to you in next week's episode.